Piers Morgan, known for his bold and unapologetic critiques, recently turned his sights on UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, delivering a scathing assessment of Starmer's leadership and decisions during his time in office. This highly publicized critique has reverberated through political circles and media outlets, highlighting the tensions and challenges that Starmer faces in his role as the leader of the United Kingdom. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Morgan, never one to shy away from controversy, has built a reputation for interrogating public figures with a mix of sharp wit and brutal honesty. His criticism of Starmer was no exception, targeting the Prime Minister's policies, public appearances, and leadership style. Morgan's dissection of Starmer's time in office covered multiple facets of his leadership, drawing attention to both perceived weaknesses and broader implications for the Labour Party and the nation. A central theme of Morgan's takedown was Starmer's struggle to carve out a distinct and compelling vision for the country. Critics, including Morgan, have long pointed out that while Starmer has worked to distance himself from the controversies of his predecessor Jeremy Corbyn, he has often appeared cautious, measured to a fault, and hesitant to take bold stances on key issues. Morgan highlighted this perceived lack of decisiveness, suggesting that Starmer's approach has left many voters unsure of his convictions and priorities. This uncertainty, Morgan argued, undermines Starmer's ability to rally public support and position himself as a credible alternative to the Conservative Party. Another focus of Morgan's critique was Starmer's handling of economic challenges, particularly in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequent global economic instability. As the UK grapples with rising inflation, a cost of living crisis, and the need for sustainable economic growth, Morgan pointed out that Starmer has yet to present a transformative economic vision that resonates with both working-class voters and the business community. While Starmer's leadership has emphasized stability and pragmatism, Morgan argued that these qualities are insufficient in addressing the scale of challenges facing the country. Instead, he called for bold, innovative ideas that could inspire confidence and spark progress, a quality Morgan suggested Starmer has struggled to demonstrate. Morgan also took aim at Starmer's ability to connect with the public on a personal level. Leadership in politics is often as much about perception as it is about policy, and Morgan underscored how Starmer has struggled to establish himself as a charismatic and relatable leader. Whether discussing his speeches, media appearances, or interactions with voters, Morgan painted a picture of a leader who often appears overly polished and detached. This, he argued, contrasts sharply with the populist appeal of figures like Boris Johnson, whose ability to connect with voters on an emotional level has often worked in his favor, even during times of controversy. The critique extended to Starmer's approach to the Labour Party itself. Morgan highlighted internal divisions within the party, suggesting that Starmer has not done enough to unify the various factions that make up Labour's base. While Starmer has made efforts to move the party away from the more radical left-wing policies of the Corbyn era, this shift has alienated some traditional Labour supporters. Morgan argued that Starmer's attempts to appeal to centrist voters have come at the expense of the party's grassroots base, leaving Labour in a precarious position as it seeks to regain political relevance. The broader implications of Morgan's critique speak to a fundamental question facing the Labour Party under Starmer's leadership. Can it effectively challenge the Conservative Party and position itself as a viable governing alternative? Morgan's analysis suggested that Starmer's leadership has yet to answer this question convincingly. Without a clear and compelling vision, Labour risks being perceived as a party of opposition rather than a party capable of governing, a perception that could prove damaging in future elections. Morgan's takedown of Starmer also highlighted the challenges of navigating a media landscape that thrives on conflict and sensationalism. As a seasoned media personality, Morgan understands how to shape narratives and influence public perception. His critique, delivered with characteristic flair and precision, not only placed Starmer under intense scrutiny, but also underscored the role of media figures in shaping political discourse. For Starmer, this serves as a reminder of the importance of managing his public image and effectively countering criticism in order to build credibility and trust with the electorate. The timing of Morgan's critique is particularly significant, as the UK continues to grapple with a host of domestic and international challenges, From post-Brexit trade arrangements to the ongoing impacts of climate change, the need for strong, decisive leadership has never been greater. Morgan's commentary reflects a broader frustration among some segments of the public and media with what they perceive as a lack of urgency and vision from Starmer's government. This frustration, if left unaddressed, could erode public confidence in Starmer's ability to lead the country through these turbulent times. While Morgan's critique was undoubtedly harsh, it also reflected a broader conversation about the nature of leadership and the expectations placed on political figures. In an era defined by rapid change and complex challenges, leaders are often expected to balance pragmatism with boldness, stability with innovation, and competence with charisma. For Starmer, Morgan's takedown serves as a stark reminder of the high stakes of political leadership and the need to rise to the occasion. Morgan's dissection of Starmer's tenure also highlighted the enduring challenge of defining success in political leadership. For some, success is measured by tangible outcomes, legislation passed, economic growth achieved, or social inequalities addressed. For others, it is about intangible qualities such as inspiration, trust, and the ability to galvanize public support. Morgan's critique suggested that Starmer has struggled on both fronts, failing to deliver the kind of transformative policies or emotional resonance needed to capture the public's imagination. The implications of this critique extend beyond Starmer and the Labour Party. They also reflect broader questions about the state of UK politics and the challenges of governing in a divided and increasingly polarized society. As Morgan pointed out, the public's disillusionment with traditional political institutions and figures has created a volatile environment where leaders are often judged more harshly and held to higher standards. For Starmer, this means that every decision, statement, and policy proposal is subject to intense scrutiny, a reality that underscores the need for a clear and compelling vision for the country. Morgan's takedown also serves as a cautionary tale for political leaders about the risks of complacency and the importance of staying attuned to public sentiment. In today's fast-paced and highly interconnected world, leaders who fail to adapt to changing circumstances or respond to public concerns risk being left behind. For Starmer, Morgan's critique is a reminder of the need to continually engage with voters, articulate a clear vision, and demonstrate a commitment to addressing the issues that matter most to the public. As the dust settles on Morgan's scathing critique, it is clear that his words have struck a chord, sparking widespread debate and discussion about Starmer's leadership and the future of the Labour Party. While Morgan's critique may have been pointed, it also reflected a broader sense of urgency and expectation among the public and media. For Starmer, this represents both a challenge and an opportunity. A chance to rise to the occasion, redefine his leadership, and chart a bold path forward for the nation. Piers Morgan's recent scathing critique of Prime Minister Keir Starmer continues to ripple across the political landscape, illuminating deep-rooted concerns about Starmer's leadership and its implications for both the Labour Party and the broader political future of the UK. Morgan's pointed analysis underscored not just specific shortcomings, but also broader questions about the effectiveness of the opposition in addressing the country's pressing issues, a critique that has invited a wide spectrum of reactions across the political and public domains. At the core of Morgan's attack lies a concern about the growing disconnect between leadership and public sentiment. Starmer, while often praised for his methodical and professional approach, has struggled to resonate emotionally with a diverse electorate. Morgan's critique underscored the essential quality of political relatability, noting that the public often seeks leaders who can embody their frustrations, aspirations, and anxieties. This gap, Morgan suggested, is not merely a failure of personality but a structural weakness that hampers Starmer's ability to galvanize public momentum around Labour's platform. A striking element of Morgan's criticism is his framing of Starmer as a leader whose governance lacks urgency and vigor, particularly in light of Britain's numerous challenges. The UK finds itself at the intersection of several crises: economic instability, healthcare struggles, climate change, and a fractious post-Brexit identity. Morgan's assessment accused Starmer of taking a managerial approach to leadership rather than a visionary one, implying that the Prime Minister's style is ill-suited to the transformative action required to navigate these issues. While managerial competence is a desirable trait, Morgan argued that it must be paired with innovative thinking and boldness, qualities that Starmer has yet to demonstrate in his tenure. An additional layer to Morgan's critique focused on the symbolism of leadership in modern politics. Leaders today are not just decision-makers, they are cultural figures whose every action and word contribute to the national narrative. Morgan pointed out that Starmer's cautious demeanor and measured tone, while preventing scandal or controversy, failed to inspire the sense of hope and possibility that many voters crave. This deficiency has left an opening for his political opponents, who have leveraged emotional appeals and populist rhetoric to bolster their positions. Morgan's dissection also highlighted Starmer's perceived failure to capitalize on political opportunities presented by conservative missteps. From the controversies surrounding Boris Johnson's leadership to widespread public dissatisfaction with post-Brexit policies, Morgan suggested that Starmer has failed to articulate a powerful and compelling alternative vision. Despite the clear appetite among some voters for change, Labour has not fully seized the momentum to position itself as the unequivocal choice for disillusioned constituents. This critique points to a deeper question about the Labour Party's identity and strategy under Starmer's leadership. Can the party not only oppose, but also define a new path forward? One of the more nuanced aspects of Morgan's criticism involves Starmer's approach to communication. In an age of instant news cycles and social media-driven narratives, leaders are often expected to master the art of effective storytelling. Morgan suggested that Starmer's inability to craft a narrative that resonates with the public is a significant drawback. The most successful leaders, Morgan implied, are those who can frame their policies and decisions within a broader story that speaks to the nation's values, struggles, and ambitions. Without this narrative cohesion, even well-crafted policies risk being overlooked or misunderstood by the electorate. Another dimension of Morgan's critique examines Starmer's positioning on the international stage. While domestic challenges understandably dominate the political agenda, the UK's role in global affairs remains a critical aspect of any Prime Minister's portfolio. Morgan criticized what he described as a lack of dynamism and clarity in Starmer's foreign policy approach, arguing that the UK needs a leader who can assert its influence and navigate complex global relationships with confidence. This aspect of Morgan's critique taps into broader anxieties about Britain's place in a rapidly changing world and the importance of strong leadership in shaping its future. Morgan's takedown also delved into the issue of trust, a cornerstone of effective governance. While Starmer has worked to distance himself from the divisive legacies of previous Labour leaders, Morgan argued that this has not translated into a robust sense of trust among the electorate. Building trust requires not only distancing oneself from past controversies, but also consistently demonstrating integrity, competence, and relatability. Morgan suggested that Starmer's often reserved and calculated style has made it difficult for him to establish this trust on a personal level, a critical shortfall in an era when authenticity is increasingly valued by voters. An undercurrent in Morgan's critique was the question of generational appeal. The Labour Party, historically a champion of progressive policies, faces the challenge of remaining relevant to younger voters while retaining the support of older, more traditional constituents. Morgan pointed out that Starmer has yet to fully engage with the priorities and concerns of the younger generation, from climate change to housing affordability. This lack of engagement risks alienating a demographic that could play a decisive role in future elections. Morgan's comments highlight the delicate balancing act required to build a coalition that bridges generational and ideological divides. Starmer's approach to Labour's internal dynamics also came under scrutiny. While his efforts to steer the party toward a more centrist and pragmatic platform have been evident, this strategy has not come without cost. Morgan argued that the alienation of the party's left-wing factions, while perhaps necessary for broader electoral appeal, has created a sense of fragmentation and disunity. The challenge for Starmer, as outlined by Morgan, is to reconcile these divisions and foster a sense of collective purpose within the party, a task that is critical to Labour's ability to mount an effective challenge to the Conservative Party. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Piers Morgan's critique of Keir Starmer's time in office? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.